Alright, hey there guys, so I'm going over some of my old videos I made. This is the next video on the list. So what I'm going to be doing is going over the definitions of a regular script compared to a local script. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into using the wiki given description of a regular script. A script in Roblox is a type of object that holds a section of Lua code. A script will execute on the new server and has access to only server-side events and properties. So what this means is it can hold your code. Scripts hold all your coding that you make in Lua. Anything you want to script or code would go inside of a script or a local script. A script will only execute server-side. Has access to only server-side events and properties. So say we're trying to reference something that's client-side, based on your client, not the entire server, such as there's a lot of things actually. We're gonna go ahead and just skip that portion. So this will only run if it's dealing with server-sided events and properties. So say you try to reference and execute properties and events on a client side. You'll run an error and it won't work basically. For example, if you're using a regular script to try and create a camera movement, like a kind of like rotation script. I know there is a few ways to make it work with a regular script, but majority of the ways is based using a local script because it's mainly client-sided. Now, the properties of a script are pretty similar to most of anything. You have whether it's disabled, it determines whether the script is running or not. Disabled meaning disabled. If enabled is equal to true or enabled is equal to false, that kind of concept. Check if it can run or not. Linked source, that's not really something you need to worry about unless you're getting more advanced in scripting. Archive, archivable. Whenever you're dealing with anything that's archivable, that means whether or not you can copy it and paste it. For example, if you try to go ahead and copy your character, you can't do that initially because all of your character's parts are archivable equals false, I believe. I may be wrong here, sorry. Class name is the type of class it is. In this case, it's a script. Name is what you want to call it. And then parent, I'm sure you guys know what a parent is by now. But if you don't, a parent is whatever the script is inside of. Some of the functions. You have your clear all children built-in function, which basically takes anything within the side of the script. Like say you want to add a part or sparkles or fire inside of it to hold it to clone later. You can use this to clear everything. You have clone, which does exactly what you think it does. You can clone something. Destroy, which does exactly what you think it does. Now, find first child. This means you can check whatever you're looking through to find the first child named whatever you want to get. So basically it's meaning if you have, say, script X, and when you run it, you want to check the workspace if it finds first child called MERP. If it finds MERP, it'll make that the value, the variable, but if it doesn't, it'll just stay as nil. The only issue with this can be if you're using it out of place, like I sometimes do, and you get a nil value, but it doesn't run up as an error because technically it's not wrong. Next, we have getChildren. GetChildren can be used in a lot of things. It returns a table. The table holds string values, number values, Boolean values that you can use throughout the stuff. So in the case of a getChildren within a function, say we're using the getChildren method to find the children of our character's model. It would make a table with the name of all the things in the model, like your right leg, your left leg, your torso, all that stuff. Is_a. Basically, Is_a is similar to using the class name property. You can say if tool is a hopper bin, then or you can say if tool dot class name is equal to hopper bin. They work conjunctionally. Either way, it depends on preferences. And is ancestor of and is descendant of. If it's an ancestor of, it basically means if it's the parent of a certain thing. And descendant of is the opposite. If what you're trying to find is the ancestor of it. That's really all there is for that. Not much else to go over it. Yield functions. What a yielding is basically a wait. So in this case, we have wait for a child with a string. So what it does is it continues to run wait until it finds the string or whatever it is you're looking for with that name. So say you're looking for, you run wait until the game finds the player, let's just say player Jim in the players list. It'll keep running wait and wait and wait until player Jim joins. Then it'll run the rest of the script. This is generally helpful if you're wanting to make a wait. Now say you try to use this as a wait to keep stuff from glitching. So you can run a wait for a child looking for a specific value inside of your character model that you instance whenever your character is ready to load. So basically it waits till it finds that value inside of your character, and until it does, it doesn't run. Lastly, we get to events. These are the built-in events you can run. This is what you use when you're using the connect. So ancestry change. This is when, say, you take the ancestry of one part, like say you have it in part X, and then via scripting you move it to part Y. That's all there is. Changed, as in like a lot of other things, it's basically if you change the property of it. So say if you go to disable it and renable it, or you change the name, all that kind of thing. Child added and child removed is kind of self-explanatory. And descendant added or descendant removing is, again, pretty similar. So we're going to go ahead and move over to local scripts. So as you can tell here, obviously local scripts do have a lot more to them. Local scripts are different from regular scripts. They don't run server-side. They perform their actions in the client. This makes them incredibly useful for accessing the properties of certain objects which may only appear in the client and not the server, such as a player's camera, like I made my reference before. In a local script, using the local player property of the player's service will give you the player that has the script, which is the local player. For example, in a local script, if you have this code, then the player will be killed. Game.players. It sets your humanoid's health to 0. Alright, so basically this is saying, within a local script, since it's client-side, you can instantly find the owner, the player of that script. If you were to try to run this game.players.localPlayer within a regular script, you'd run into an error unless there was someone in your game called local player. Now, in order for a local script to function, it has to be placed within one of 3 areas. In a backpack, you can place it directly in the backpack, or you can place it in a tool, a hopper bin, all sorts of things. You can place it in your character's model itself. So in my case, say if I'm making a devil fruit animation, whenever you get touched, it runs. So that kind of concept works there. You'd place the script inside of your character's model that runs through it. Also in a player GUI. The local script does not need to be directly within one of these places, but it has to be at least to the center of them. So say you have a local script inside of a tool inside of their backpack. Another example is if you have a GUI, but then you have the screen GUI, then you have a frame, then you have the text button, then you have the script inside of that, you can still make it work. Into the properties. So these are pretty much almost exactly the same as, actually I'm pretty sure they're exactly the same as a regular script. So there's really not much to say here. Actually, everything's the same, to be honest. Everything else the same, the properties, the functions, the yield functions, the events, everything else is the same. Nothing else is different. I mean, if you were to compare the two, everything is the same. You don't really have anything to worry about if you're trying to cross-learn. The only issue you're going to have is if you're trying to run a client-sided method upon a server-sided script. it'll run as an error. It doesn't matter even if you wrote the script extremely well and perfectly, you did no mistakes, everything was correct. If it's the wrong type of script, it's going to break instantly. That's one main thing you're always going to want to remember. So you're going to want to get used to using them separately if need be. So that's all I really have to say for this video. I hope this video helped you guys. If it did, feel free to drop a like and leave a comment. If you have any more questions on it, feel free to ask in the comments down below and express your opinions. So I'm going to continue working on my videos and keep making more of my old scripting tutorials that I originally made, but with more detail for you guys, so I can help explain more to you guys. So I'll see you guys in my next few videos. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, feel free to check out my other content. I make tutorials and stuff all the time as I can, and try to help you guys learn. Have a good day. Hope to see you again.